Thank you, Mark, and a big hello from London. An interesting series of weekly patterns seen this past week, and the follow-on results have been mainly good. To start with, we had a weekly key reversal up in Euro Swiss last week, and already there is the beginnings of a follow-on higher seen this week. We also had a weekly key reversal up in Euro Sterling last week, but here, though trading higher on the Monday, we've seen a reactionary move back down, though still within last week's range so far. In the dollar, we had a weekly key reversal up in US dollar Indonesian rupiah, which has seen a more than satisfactory move higher already this week. And in the US dollar versus the North Macedonian dinar, we saw a weekly key reversal up last week in some sparse trading, but the reaction has been sort of neither following on higher nor staging a reactionary move lower. I had nothing in the financials or the equity markets other than a weekly key reversal up in the Felix Semiconductor Index last week, which has this week seen the beginnings of a move higher already. So the rest are commodities, and we had a very interesting weekly key reversal down last week in New York sugar futures. This has been a long time coming, and I'd spoken about this market at length in my weekly sugar markets commentaries on Mondays. Well, at the end of last week we had a significant weekly key reversal down that has seen an excellent follow-on lower this week. It is on the verge of breaking out on the downside from a major bear channel. Watch this space, this one is becoming even more interesting. Then over to one of my favourites for this year, Chicago soybean meal futures. This had a weekly key reversal down last week, though with changeover we have opened higher on my continuous charts. However, as I've said for well over just about a year actually, all things here should be seen in the shadow of the annual key reversal down we saw here at the end of 2023. This week, all we've seen so far is a seeming spike upwards that is filling in the changeover gap below and starting to move lower again. Onto the metals, and we had a weekly key reversal up, if only just, in CME lithium futures last week. This week the market here hasn't done much, but it is worth watching as it is the first bullish sign in a market that has been falling since, well, ever since May. Then on to spot palladium. Here we had a weekly key reversal down last week, and prices have followed on lower this week very nicely and are approaching the lows of mid-November. Onto Chicago live cattle futures, and we had a weekly key reversal up here last week, right at the top of the market, which is never a good sign. Yet initially it looked like live cattle might follow on higher at the start of Monday. However, by the end of the day we had formed a combined daily key reversal down and bearish engulfing pattern. And yes, there was a follow-on lower to those two patterns, though it was seemingly half-hearted. We are still within last week's range right now, though I would suggest caution on this one. Finally, in freight, in the Baltic Panamax index, we had what looks like a reactionary weekly key reversal down last week after the previous week's bullish, if lesser, outside week pattern, right at the lows of the market. This week we have seen an excellent follow-on lower so far, with new lows not seen since July last year. As always, I'm happy to answer any direct questions with anyone who's interested. With that, I'll finish this section from London. And I hope you found these comments useful. It only leaves me to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a splendid New Year. Thank you for listening. This weekly broadcast gives the essential market patterns and consequences. Please be aware of the risk disclaimer posted both at the front and at the back of this broadcast. Copyright is Eddie Topic and ADM Investor Service International Limited. And here comes the final important bit.